Okay, so in today's video, I wanted to talk about three things that I'm wishing for in future MacBooks. Now, it's probably never gonna happen, but I'm a huge fan of MacBooks and I think that they're awesome. They're very excellent for pretty much everything that you can imagine except for gaming. So for all you game enthusiasts out there, a MacBook is not the way to go. But for everything else, the MacBook is a solid option. Now, there are three things that I want to mention, three things that I really wish that Apple could sort of reconsider. And, who knows, maybe someday when, Tim Cook retires and there is someone that they hire to get the job done much better than he does. Not to bash Tim Cook, but I sort of think that he's mostly looking at Apple and computers and iPhones from a business perspective, which is probably not a bad thing for most situations, but sometimes they sort of miss out on creating the things that you really want. Now, tech companies in general, they will never release perfect products. They never will, because if they did that, people would not upgrade their tech, So obviously they're never going to create the perfect products. But there are three things that I wanted to mention, three things that I really want in future MacBooks. So the number one, and this is like the top of my list, it's expandable storage. Now, MacBooks, believe it or not, for some of you, if you're newer or anything like that, like back in the day, you could actually replace the storage on your MacBook. It was actually very simple. You could replace it very easily. Some MacBooks even had 2 slots for hard drives and you can easily replace it. On future MacBooks, it's basically just virtually as impossible. Like technically, I suppose, like if you're really skilled, you could make it done, like you could trick the computer, but it sort of becomes like a Hackintosh. But for the normal person, it's basically impossible to replace the storage, which is a real shame, because sometimes when you're spending a lot of money on a computer, you may not have the capital to buy everything that you need for a computer, and that's what I sort of miss from the PC world, where you can basically upgrade your computer over time. If you don't have the money to get 2 terabytes of storage, you can just get like half a terabyte and then you can upgrade it later on when you get some more capital. And with a MacBook or a Mac Mini, it's a very limited option. Like you can't really upgrade anything on this damn thing. And so I have 512 gigs on my MacBook, and I would actually really want to have something like 2 terabytes. Now I have many SSD drives, portable, and also, the ones that you put into computers. And I have 2 terabyte options, 4 terabyte options. But if I was to get a MacBook and I was to get something like 2 terabytes or 4 terabytes, it would like cost me twice the price. And Apple knows this. And this is what I mean when I say maybe Tim Cook is not the best option if he keeps consumers paying these ridiculous overprices. But one day I really hope that they get a CEO who will actually look at the computers, give people what they want, and give expandable storage. That's what I'm not praying, but really hoping for. The second thing, now there was a black MacBook Air released, but what I would really want is like a matte black finish. So it would sort of match with my iPhone, which is a space black version, and this is sort of matte, and I really like this color. I just really wish that the MacBook came in that color. Now, the problem with the MacBook Air is like it's a fingerprint magnet, and it's just not the same. You'd want something that's as fingerprint resistant as the MacBook is, but just give it a touch of darkness, like even more than the space gray, because this, believe it or not, is actually the space gray. I don't know if the colors are sort of reflecting correctly here, but this is actually the darkest that you can get on a MacBook Pro, but it's just not what I'm looking for just yet. Now, the third thing, and this is probably more for content creators like myself, I would really like to get a much better webcam. Now, they did tweak the webcams for the latest models, and while they're good, they're not what I want. What I want is something that comes out of the iPhone. Now, it doesn't have to be the 48 megapixel main camera on the iPhone 14 Pro, but maybe something like the selfie cam, something like that. If you were to put that in the MacBook Pro, I would be super happy. I could record, content like this on a MacBook and then just upload it directly to YouTube or whatever. That would be really something. Those are my 3 wishes. Tim Cook, or if Apple, if you're listening, I want expandable storage, matte black finish, and a much better webcam. Okay, that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.